When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you must ask yourself is this: am I alive or not? If you are alive, that is already the greatest blessing of the day. Everything else is secondary, but most people do not realize this. They get up, look at their phone, and immediately allow the world to decide how they will feel. If the message is nice, they are happy. If the message is bad, they are miserable. Stress, anxiety, misery, these are not natural states of life. They are self-created. Please understand, life is happening outside, but misery is manufactured inside. Nobody else has installed a misery factory in you. You are the manufacturer, the distributor, and unfortunately, also the consumer of your own misery. What is stress? Stress simply means you do not know how to handle your own body, your own mind, your own chemistry. If you had a choice, would you keep yourself tense or relaxed, joyful or anxious? Obviously joyful. But still, people choose anxiety every day, not consciously, but because they have lost the handle of their own system. You suffer what happened yesterday, and you suffer what may happen tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not come, but still you suffer both. That means you are suffering something that does not exist. Isn't that a form of madness? The way out is very simple. You must learn to sit here in this moment, fully alive, fully aware. Your mind is a wonderful tool, but if you don't know how to use it, it will use you. Instead of being your servant, it has become your master. So, how to escape the cycle of stress, anxiety, misery? Don't try to escape it, just step out of it. It's like a spinning wheel. If you stand on it, it throws you around. If you simply step off, suddenly life is still, balanced, peaceful. Start with this. Every day, take a few minutes to simply sit, breathe, and remind yourself, I am not my thoughts, I am not my emotions, I am just life. If you experience yourself as life, not as the nonsense of the mind, then stress, anxiety, and misery cannot touch you. Remember, life is not suffering. Life is exuberance. It is only the compulsions of the mind that make it otherwise. The question is not how to escape suffering. The question is whether you are willing to drop the habits of your mind and experience life directly. If you do, then you will see joy is your natural state, peace is your nature, and freedom is not something you achieve, it is what you are. Stress and misery are self-created. You are both the manufacturer and consumer. When you observe human beings, you will see something very peculiar. Every creature on this planet is managing life with a certain sense of ease. Birds fly across the sky, animals roam in the forest, even the smallest insect goes about its existence with absolute involvement in the moment. But the human being, who has the most sophisticated mind and the highest level of intelligence, is the only creature struggling to be at ease. If you look deeply, the problem is not life itself. The problem is that most people have not learned to handle the very faculties that make them human. When something goes wrong in your life, the usual tendency is to point outward. This person caused my stress. That situation made me anxious. The world is too hard, and that is why I am miserable. But look closely. The situation may be challenging, but the suffering you experience is entirely your own making. If the same situation happens to two different people, one might laugh, the other might cry. One may see it as a stepping stone, another as a roadblock. The event is the same, but the experience is completely different. This shows that stress is not in the event, it is in the way you process it within yourself. Most people are busy blaming life for their unhappiness, without realizing that life itself does not bring misery. Life is simply happening. Morning turns to night. Seasons change, bodies age, people come and go. These are natural processes. They are not designed to torture you. The real source of suffering is the mind that interprets every simple process in a way that becomes unpleasant. If your mind were working for you, stress would never be part of your vocabulary. You would use your mind to create clarity, joy, and balance. Instead, for many people, the mind has turned into a relentless noise machine, producing endless thoughts that have no relevance to the present moment. Think about this. Your mind is like a knife. With a sharp knife, you can prepare a beautiful meal, but if you do not know how to handle it, you cut yourself again and again. That cut is not the fault of the knife. It is the lack of skill in using it. In the same way, stress is not the fault of life, but the result of not knowing how to use the mind and body. You have the ability to generate thoughts, emotions, and chemistry inside you. But once you lose conscious control, your own system becomes the very source of misery. You are running an internal factory that manufactures tension and distress. Worse still, you are the only customer. Nobody else is consuming it, but you keep eating your own product every day. Take a moment to see how this works. Suppose tomorrow you have an important meeting. Nothing has happened yet. The meeting is still in the future. But tonight you are tossing and turning, playing out 1,000 possible scenarios in your head, many of which will never come true. In that moment, nothing real is threatening you. You are lying safely in bed, but you are manufacturing chemicals of anxiety, tension, and fear inside your body. You are producing a whole environment of stress without any external cause. This is how most people live, constantly consuming the output of their own mental factory, which churns out misery day and night. Even when you look at the past, what is gone is gone. You cannot touch it, change it, or retrieve it. Yet many people carry the weight of yesterday endlessly. They replay painful moments, amplify regrets, and punish themselves for things long finished. It is almost like picking up an old wound and scratching it every day just to keep it alive. The body has healed, but the mind refuses to let it go. So again, the past is not causing suffering. Your mind, refusing to stop manufacturing old experiences, is causing the suffering. The most tragic part is that many human beings believe this misery is natural. They think stress is a normal byproduct of responsibility, or that anxiety is inevitable in the modern world, but this is not true. Stress is not natural, it is self-made. Just because a large number of people share the same mistake does not make it the truth. If you are producing misery inside you and consuming it every day, that is not life's doing. That is your own unconscious habit. Consider for a moment, if you had absolute choice, would you create joy or misery for yourself? Would you create peace or chaos? Obviously, you would choose joy and peace. So why is the opposite happening? Because you have lost control of the manufacturing process. Your body, mind, and emotions are functioning compulsively, not consciously. This is why stress feels like an external force pressing down on you, when in reality, it is your own hand pressing the weight upon yourself. When you see this clearly, it can be almost shocking. You realize that you are both the creator and consumer of your suffering. You are running a full-scale production of negative emotions, packaging them as stress and anxiety, and then feeding them back into yourself. Once you see this truth, you can no longer honestly say, "Life is unfair to me." You must admit, "I have become unfair to myself." This recognition is not meant to blame you, but to liberate you. Because if stress and misery were truly coming from the outside world, then you would be helpless. You cannot control the entire world. But if they are self-created, then the key is in your own hands. You are the one manufacturing the misery, which means you also have the ability to stop production. The first step is simply to stop outsourcing responsibility for how you feel. Nobody out there has pressed a button inside you that says misery on. You are pressing it yourself, perhaps unconsciously, but still by your own hand. Once you see that the source of your suffering is not life, but the way you are handling your inner world, a tremendous possibility opens up. Because the same mind that has been producing anxiety can also produce clarity. The same body that has been flooded with stress hormones can also overflow with vitality. The same system that manufactures misery can also manufacture bliss. The factory is yours. The question is, what are you producing today? Do Do you want me to continue expanding keynote **2** in the same deep, reflective style, also around 900 words, so you can build them into a complete speech? You suffer the past and the future, both of which do not exist right now. This is one of the most fundamental yet overlooked truths of human life. If you sit quietly and observe, you will see that 90% of the suffering people carry has nothing to do with the reality of this very moment. It is either a replay of something that has already happened or an anticipation of something that has not yet happened. The past is memory, the future is imagination. Both exist only in your mind, not in life. Yet these two shadows dominate your inner world so completely that the present, the only thing that is real, is almost missed. The past is like an old photograph. You can hold it in your hands, you can look at it, but you cannot step back into it. It is frozen. Still, many people spend most of their lives dragging these old photographs around in their heads, crying over them, smiling over them, fighting over them. What is already finished continues to run like a never-ending film reel inside, creating joy at times but mostly pain. If someone hurt you 10 years ago, it was only a few moments of unpleasantness back then. But if you have remembered it and replayed it 1,000 times, you have multiplied your suffering 1,000-fold. The event ended, but your mind has not let it end. In this way, you become a prisoner of a memory. The future, on the other hand, is not even a photograph. It is like drawing pictures on water. You imagine what may happen, you fear what may come, you hope for certain outcomes. Yet, when the future arrives, it rarely unfolds exactly as you pictured it. Still, the mind insists on projecting countless scenarios ahead, most of them negative, most of them unnecessary. You may be sitting in a comfortable room, your body is safe, there is no immediate threat, but your mind is racing, producing images of failure, rejection, disaster. Your chemistry responds to these images as if they were real, flooding your body with stress hormones. So, you end up suffering consequences of things that have not even happened. This constant swinging between the past and the future is like being trapped on a seesaw. You are never stable, never still, always going up and down. One moment you are replaying yesterday's pain, the next moment you are rehearsing tomorrow's fear. In this restless motion, the present moment, which is the only doorway to life, remains unnoticed. You are alive only here, only now. But you miss it because you are too busy living in times that no longer exist or have not yet come. When you suffer the past, you are essentially keeping wounds alive. A cut on your skin will heal naturally if you do not constantly poke it. But if you scratch it every day, it becomes a scar that never goes away. This is what happens when you continuously revisit past insults, mistakes, or losses. The body has healed, life has moved on, but you are still scratching. You are creating suffering out of something that is no longer part of reality. It is like carrying a corpse on your shoulders. The event is dead, but you keep reviving it inside your mind, dragging it wherever you go. When you suffer the future, you are punishing yourself with things that may never happen. If you observe carefully, most of the fears people carry never become reality, yet they still suffer them fully in advance. Someone might fear losing their job, but even before any sign of it, they are already living in anxiety every day. In this way, they experience the pain of losing the job many times in their imagination, even if they never actually lose it. The mind, when uncontrolled, becomes a cruel prophet, constantly predicting unpleasant outcomes and forcing you to experience them emotionally as if they are real. Life itself has no such agenda. Life is simply flowing moment to moment. It does not insist that you suffer yesterday or tomorrow. It only offers you this breath, this step, this heartbeat. If you could simply be here without dragging the weight of what is no longer here and what is not yet here, you would experience life in its freshness. But the human habit of constantly living in the non-existent creates an almost continuous experience of struggle. Think of how children live. For them, the past is almost forgotten, the future is still vague, and the present moment is everything. That is why a small child can cry 1 minute and laugh the next with complete involvement. They are not calculating yesterday's insults or tomorrow's risks. Their entire life is concentrated in this very moment. That is why their joy is so pure, their laughter so free. It is not that they do not face challenges, but they have not yet learned the art of clinging to past pain and future fear. As people grow older, they accumulate more and more past, and they project more and more into the future. The mind becomes a heavy warehouse of memories and anticipations. The present moment gets reduced to a narrow doorway through which they barely pass. Instead of living, they are mostly remembering and imagining. This is why many people feel burdened, anxious, or joyless. They are not living life, they are living thoughts. If you watch closely, you will see that in the actual present, most of the time there is no real suffering. You are sitting, breathing, your body is fine. The air is moving in and out. Nothing is wrong. But the mind pulls you away into yesterday or tomorrow, and suddenly you are agitated. The suffering is not in life. It is in the way you are absent from life. The past and the future are useful only as reference and possibility. They were never meant to become a residence. To live there permanently is to miss existence itself. Would you like me to now expand *** keynote 3 * into around 800-900 words in the same reflective style, so your full speech flows as one? Freedom comes by stepping out of the cycle, not by fighting it. Most people believe that if they struggle hard enough against stress, anxiety, or misery, they will somehow defeat it. They take on their own mind as though it were an enemy, fighting thoughts, resisting emotions, suppressing fears. But the more you fight, the more entangled you become. The mind thrives on resistance. When you push against it, it pushes back harder. What you resist, you invite into your inner space again and again. Stress is like a wheel spinning rapidly. If you try to stop it with your hands, you only injure yourself. The harder you hold, the more friction burns your skin. But if you simply step off the wheel, the spinning continues without you. The key is not in battling the cycle, but in recognizing that you are not obligated to stay on it. You can step aside. You can let it spin without participating. This is what true freedom means. Anxiety grows when you keep negotiating with it. For example, a person who worries endlessly might say, "I will calm down after I find a solution to every possible problem." But life never runs out of problems. By the time one is solved, another appears. If you make peace conditional upon solving everything, you will never know peace. To step out of the cycle means you stop making peace dependent on conditions. You allow yourself to experience calm even when situations are unresolved. In that moment, you are free. Misery has a strange way of feeding on attention. The more you analyze why you are miserable, the more layers you add to it. You pick apart every thought, trace every root, debate every memory. But instead of clarity, you only create a thicker web. Fighting misery is like struggling in quicks, and the more you flail, the deeper you sink. Freedom comes when you stop struggling. You recognize that misery is not a monster outside you. It is just the shadow cast by your own compulsive thoughts. Shadows disappear not by attacking them, but by turning toward the light. The cycle of stress, anxiety, and misery is not an external trap. It is an inner loop created by habit. The more you identify with every passing thought and emotion, the more tightly you are caught. Stepping out means realizing you are not the thought, not the emotion, not even the restless chemistry in your body. You are the awareness in which these things rise and fall. Once you experience this directly, you stop fighting. Instead, you watch, and in that simple act of watching, the cycle loses its grip. Imagine standing at the edge of a busy street. Cars are rushing past, honking, swerving, speeding. If you step into the middle, you will be hit from all sides. But if you stand on the sidewalk, you can see the entire flow without being harmed. Your mind is like that street. Thoughts race by, fast and noisy. If you throw yourself into every thought, you are struck by stress and anxiety again and again. But if you step back into awareness, you see the movement without being crushed by it. The freedom is not in stopping traffic, but in not being run over by it. People often ask, how do I stop thinking negative thoughts? The answer is, you do not have to stop them. You only have to stop identifying with them. The mind will always produce thoughts, just as the stomach will always digest food. It is its nature, but you do not have to mistake every thought for reality. When you know this, thoughts lose their power over you. They pass like clouds in the sky, leaving no permanent mark. Stepping out of the cycle also means not making your inner state dependent on the outer world. Situations will not always cooperate. People may not behave the way you want. Life will not bend to your preferences. If your peace depends on controlling all these factors, you will remain trapped. But if your peace comes from simply being rooted in your own awareness, then no matter what happens outside, the cycle cannot enslave you. The wheel may spin, but you are not on it. True freedom does not come from conquering stress or eliminating anxiety or erasing misery. It comes from realizing that you are not these states at all. They are passing clouds, you are the sky. Clouds may gather, storms may come, but the sky is untouched. When you stop confusing yourself with the weather and recognize yourself as the vastness in which the weather happens, the cycle breaks on its own. Do you want me to now weave all three expanded keynotes into a ***, single flowing speech *** in the same style, so it sounds seamless and ready to deliver?